I'm going to move you a little bit back. Just move the sewing machine out of the way. We will continue filling up these hearts. I need to get more. Let me start at the beginning though. I'm just jumping in. Even though there's no one yet, I'm a little bit, I'm 3 minutes early. Um, Let me introduce myself. I'm Katinka. I live in South Africa in Cape Town, and I'm the seamstress at the cottage. And we're doing these lives for 14 days. Today is day 8 to prepare for Valentine's Day. So, Grace from So Lovely with Grace, she told me that she does Valentine's Day on the 13th, which is for her friends. I am just going to do Valentine's Day on the 14th with my friends. We're all going for a picnic where we will celebrate female friendships. The origins from Valentine's Day, I found out, was about 300 after Christ. And there was this priest called Valentine, and he would marry the, who's there? There's a lot, but there's no. Oh, there's one. Hi, whoever you are, and welcome. So Valentine would marry the soldiers going off to war, because I think it was Cornelius at that stage, who didn't allow his soldiers to get married because he said they're better fighters if they're not married. So of course, Valentine, the priest, he just married them, and he's got locked up because of that, put in jail, and he was also martyred in the end because of that. But while he was in jail, he fell in love, is the one story. The other story is, oh, hi, Michelle. Welcome. The other story is that he healed the jailer's daughter. So the one story is he fell in love with the jailer's daughter, and the other story is he healed her. And then he wrote her a note before he was executed to say, from your Valentine. And apparently that is where the From Your Valentine started. So originally Valentine's Day was not about all the fluff, the chocolates and the roses and all of those things. That comes from a pagan festival where people would be paired together through a lottery. And then basically it was quite an orgy. And then about 800 after Christ, the Pope at that stage decided to combine the two festivals to make church more acceptable to the pagans. And that is what we've got today. So for me, Valentine's Day has always been a bit, not sure I like it, bloody blah. But I've decided to not celebrate Valentine's Day, but to celebrate friendship. And for that reason, I've invited a bunch of my friends to come for a picnic in the park. And part of the thing of friendship is to give them little gifts, nothing extravagant, just something to say, I thought about you. And then later on, for me, when they maybe take it out of their cupboards or um, find it somewhere, they remember that there is somebody who's thinking about them. And so for that reason, I am making little lavender hearts from lavender from my garden. Oh, Alexandria, Zandra, welcome. So nice to see you here. So I've made a few already, given one away, but I have 5 here. I have some that's ready to be filled with lavender, and then I've got 3 more to sew. I might go and make 1 or 2 more. I'll see how much time I have. So I think we're going to start on that. We are going to work on these little hearts until I run out of lavender, and then we'll move on to the next thing. The little flags, bunting, I was not able to keep on working on that because I forgot my iron and they needed to be ironed. So tomorrow I have to do some driving around in the city, and then I will just pick up my more lavender, but also pick up my iron. Yes, there's another bush that's really dry because you need them to be dry. They can be a bit wet because they will dry in the fabric. So yes, the preparations for my Valentine's Day picnic is still going strong. I thought that For tomorrow, um, we might do the beach adventure because I'm close to the beach. And then I will see if I can do a morning beach adventure for my Australian friends. So we are just going to go and have a nice stroll on the beach. This one is not dry. Let me put it there to dry properly. Just for an half an hour because I don't have, if I do one in the morning and one in the afternoon, that gives me two half an hours. And then we can chat and walk on the beach and just have a beautiful early morning. I think that could be a lot of fun. So beach day tomorrow, unless if it's misty, it's not a problem. But unless it's too windy, but usually the mornings is not. So I'll put the times for the beach day up when I'm done here, if I remember. Otherwise, I'll do, no, I will have to do it because there's one going to be in the morning for the Australian friends. And yes, part of loving and caring, because remember when we started, we said it's about love yourself. You cannot love your neighbor if you cannot love yourself. So the whole premise of this whole process is to teach myself, to teach me how to love myself. Because, like I said in the beginning, I've found that I've been really mean to myself lately. And so the beach walk is for self care. And yeah, I would really like to know, what do you do for self care? I find going into nature, it really feeds my soul. I also find doing something like this, which is thoughtful and uh, keeping the person in mind, this also really feeds my soul. So tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon is going to be about self-care, going for that walk on the beach, maybe sitting on the wall, the retention wall or the sea wall, and just chatting to you. I might even find some rocks and just chat to you with the sea in the background. I really love the sound of the sea. And I love it when the air is salty and oh, it's just so beautiful. Even if it's misty. I love misty mornings on the beach. Alexandra Rose actually told me she went for a walk this morning on the waterfront and it was all misty where she is in England and it sounded so beautiful over on my school community. So those of you who's not aware, I've started a school community and to make it safe, you have to subscribe. There is a fee to it. Um, and yes, I would love to see you over there. Over there, we have sessions where you can chat face to face because it's almost like Zoom. And we all bring whatever we're working on and sit and chat and just catch up. And there's behind the scenes and just what everybody is up to. It's really a lot of fun. And if you're looking for a community of just like-minded people, but also a place where you can be safe, it's a good place to go. There is a link in my description below. So Alexandra is in the school community and there she posted about her morning walk. And I thought it sounded so nice. So yeah, if you can put in the chat box, what is the things that you do to look after yourself? The things that feed your soul and makes you just relax and just get together with yourself. You know, that checking in with yourself. I think it's so important because in the world we live in, it's so busy and there's so many things that you have to do that sometimes you forget to check in to make sure we're still grounded and to make sure that we are okay. A while ago, I found that I felt stressed the whole time and worried the whole time. And when I checked in with myself, I realized that there was a situation that happened and I never allowed myself to work through it. And as soon as I sat down and worked through it by going for a walk, I felt so much better. Alexandra Rose, I also love to walk by the sea. It's not far from me. Oh, you're so lucky. Yeah, it's about how many kilometers? Maybe 20 kilometers. No, maybe not that much. Maybe 15, about 15 kilometers from my house. At the moment, I'm house sitting closer. So I'm so chuffed that I can just pop over. I mean, it took me less than 15 minutes today to get there, which was really nice. So I went for a cold plunge today. That's also something I do for myself when I feel in pain or overwhelmed or any of those things. I just go for a nice cold swim because the sea over the side, it's closer to Blouberg, is really cold. And I walk out of that and I just feel so alive again. So, yes, today at 1 o'clock, we went, a few of us from church went, and some other friends went for a cold plunge. And it was so nice. And the best part about cold plunging is to go for coffee afterwards. There's this place called Ons Huisie. So if you're from Cape Town, you will know. If you're from other places, if you ever get to Cape Town, go to Ons Huisie in Blouberg. It is really cool. So we all sat there and we had coffee and had some nice conversations. And it was just so special. And I came back here feeling completely refreshed and ready to continue. The other thing I did today, I cut out my Valentine's dress and it is ready to sew. I've pinned the sleeves together. It's basically a peasant top that I turned into a dress, and it's going to have elastics just under the boob and in my waist, one in between, like the viral dress that everybody is making and buying at the moment. And this fabric was given to me by Lisa from Frets and Cahoots. If you want somebody that's so thoughtful in what she makes, and to really, I like her boho style, she's somebody to follow. So if you pop over and go and visit her, tell her that I sent you. Frets and Cahoots, and her name is Lisa. So she found this, I think, in a resale store or a local, it's like a place that sells um, art and craft supplies. I think that's what she said. And so she found it there, and then she gave this piece to me. I had to work really hard to get the sleeves out. I had to like piece them together, as you can see there, and at the bottom. But I don't mind piecing. Oh, I've just, oh no, there's my needle. I don't mind piecing fabric together because that way I don't waste any. Because it's kind of irritating when you are making stuff and you end up with all these heaps of leftovers. Oh, the sound is going in and out. Her name is Lisa from Freds and Cahoots. Let me bring you closer. There is a fan going in the background because it's quite muggy at the moment. Okay, I will have to move my sewing machine a little bit. There. How's that? Because it does help if I put you closer. Let's just move it so you can see also what I'm working on. So Lisa, Freds and Cahoots. Yeah, Lisa from Freds and Cahoots. If I remember, I'll put her in the description. Otherwise, Alexa, just ask me again in the Google community and then I can put it there. So, Alexa, Alexandra. So, Alexandra, you asked me about um, scraps the other day, and I was really thinking about that. And so, I wanted to come and speak a bit more about scraps. So, scraps is quite a problem with the sewing community because all of that lands into the landfill. So, what I found is if it's a big piece, a bigger piece, anything bigger than this, I will keep. Sometimes even smaller, long pieces I will also keep. And I usually find a way to use them. But if I use natural fibers, I find I can use smaller pieces for quilts and stuff and I do keep them. But I also use the fine scraps, especially the natural fibers, and I cut them up into, I call it slop, and I use the slop to fill stuff. I find that the synthetic fabrics does not work so nicely for slop, but the natural fibers, they do work really well because I use it for like tailor's hams and cushions, like floor cushions. I'm actually for a floor cushion, I would actually use my synthetic fibers as well, and I would just stuff it really hard because they're really nice to sit on. It doesn't give a lot of weight. Sometimes you can make like another softer version on top, but it is a nice way of using up the scraps. And then I also, like I said, I also like to make like makeup bags out of some of my scraps, or I've seen recently you can make like a corner for books to use as bookmarks. So I've made one and I'm trying it out. I'm not sure I like it yet, but I'll just try it for a while and see what happens. So yes, if you can think of other ways of using your scraps, Alexandra said yesterday she uses it for underwear. So we were talking about knickers, and then my American friends didn't know what knickers were. So it's like in South Africa we call them panties. In America apparently it's called underwear. In I don't know what it's called in Australia, but I know in England it's called knickers. So yes, you can use your stretchy scraps for that, and it works really well. Cushion with scraps once and I left a pin in it. Oh my goodness, that must have been quite painful. I hope it didn't stick into you. I hope you found it beforehand. I actually sewed a hem for someone once and the pin stayed in the hem. Oh, this needle. The hole is so small I can't get the cotton through. I can see the hole, but I can't get the cotton through. Where's my. Oh, and then I pull it out. Where? Hmm, I don't have scissors here. That's not good. I'm pulling it out because it's really short. Oh, that one is too thick. So we'll have to go back to the small hole one. So, are you guys having a nice Sunday? Have you been relaxing? Did you go to church? Did you spend it with friends? What have you been up to today? I'm just going to sew it in and leave it in there. And then what I do afterwards, take the pins out of your mouth. Don't put pins and needles in your mouth because you might end up swallowing it. And that's a very expensive experience. My friend's daughter did that. It was no fun. We have another heart done. This one I've started filling, so let's keep on filling it. I think there's enough to finish this one still. And then we move over to the next pen. So this today, yesterday the seawater was 14 degrees. When I got into the sea today, it felt warmer. But the longer we stayed in, the colder it got. To the point that I was really cold when I got out in the end, which I don't usually have. But the sun was out and it was actually quite a warm day. So I think I might have stayed in too long. But it was one of those perfect afternoons. I did get a little bit of a suntan, not burn. I did use a good quality um, sunscreen. My friend have a South African skincare range called Skin Logic that she developed for South African skins. And they have a very nice sunscreen. So the thing with sunscreen, if it's one of those that's waterproof, it's got a lot of chemicals in it. So if you want sunscreen with less chemicals, then it's better to use one that is not waterproof and just keep on applying it. So that's what I ended up doing. And as you can see, my face is a little red, but it's really not bad at all. And my back hasn't burned, which I'm really surprised. So I am impressed. It's a factor 14, 40, and it's a really nice sunscreen. I usually don't like sunscreens. So that helped because we went at the hottest time of the day and I was in the water for 20 minutes. But it was so funny. There were all this, we were about nine, we went swimming, and there were all these different people, and some came for the first time, and some was there like they go every time we go. But it was so funny, the first ones, how they would get in and freak out. Sunkies. Thank you, Alexandria. Uh, yeah, so the ones who got there for the first time, they were freaking out because of the cold. And then the ones who've been doing it for a while, they had completely a different attitude. And I was deeper in because I like to go where my feet don't touch the water so I can just hang my legs down. And it really helps for my back. So that's stretching out the vertebra. And that's a way of doing it. So I was hanging and just observing. Oh, I love observing people. I know. And sometimes it might be not the best thing because you need to be you need to be part of the group and not just on the outside. And I tend to choose to be on the outside. And yeah, I'm working on that one as well. I think I got to a place where there was a time in my life where I faced a lot of rejection, and that made me be very wary of situations and people. So I love people, but I would observe. I would stand on the outside and look and smile and maybe talk to some people, but I would make sure I'm not part of the inner crowd just because I didn't feel safe. But I'm really working on that lie because you know what? You are always safe. You just need to keep yourself safe. And keeping yourself safe, one way is to just guard your heart, still love, but you don't have to take everything to heart. I'm quite sensitive and I'm working on that. Not sensitive like, oh, you're hurting me, but like I feel people's emotions. So I'm really working on that because it really tires me out. But I'm also learning to just let things go. You know, it's not meant, unless somebody comes and say it directly to me and say that you are X, Y, and Z and you are like this. If they make like stabs at you, like backhanded stabs, you don't have to take it. Most likely, when people are behaving like that, it's because they have their own pain. So I give them the benefit of the doubt. They might have a bad day or they feel insecure. So that makes that I'm more willing to get to the inner sides of circles. But it's something I have to work on. Because for so many years, I've pulled myself away from stuff. Unless I know you really well and spend a lot of time with you, I don't easily open up. And I'm still careful. I don't just open up to anyone because you have to have a relationship with somebody um, before you have the right to speak into their lives. So I'm quite aware of that, but I'm not as closed in the sense of I become part of groups. Like previously, I would have be part of the group but stay on the outside. Today, I made a point of going into the inside of the group and tell them about stuff and listen to things and give my opinion and what you do in normal relationships. So I'm really working on that. Even though I find it hard, it's something that needs to happen for me, for nobody else but for me. That's so true. So Alexandra said it takes a while to heal after betrayal. And that's really true. So I'm still healing. But I'm actually at a place where I'm ready. Well, not completely, but I'm much more ready than I was. And that's also why I started doing these lives, was to challenge, in the sense of doing the live, it challenges me to talk. And it's easy with videos because then I can just make the video and I kind of know what I want to say. And it's not really about me, it's more about themes. And here I find this, I do speak, I do talk about stuff. And yep, it has really been challenging me. Good way. I should have brought my thimble. So that's a question I wanted to ask you. Are you Fimble? Are you in part of the Fimble school, or do you prefer not to use Fimbles For many years, I hated using thimbles, but my finger, this finger, got so callous and sore because half the skin was gone that I had to start using a thimble. And now I love my thimble. So, question, do you like thimbles or not? Do you use thimbles? Or do you just grin and bear it and sew through the pain? Because that's what I used to do. It's like, oh, it's bleeding. Okay, let's just put a plaster and keep going. Let's not fill this one up completely. We're going to do a few more lavender spreads. And then I've got one more heart here, but there's not enough lavender here to fill it. But I'm just going to take all the lavender that's still in here and just put it in there and then continue tomorrow after I've harvested some more. There, that's better. Let's close it up. Sure. It's so humid and mucky. I don't like mucky weather. Oh, shoot, I just broke the cotton. Oh well. I don't do enough hand sewing, so thimble feels cumbersome. I think you have to get used to it. I think you're right. It is important to get, you do have to get used to it. It took me a while to get used to it, but when I got used to it, it's like a life, a finger saver. Michelle, I too am a highly sensitive person who feels and expresses senses and experience senses. It can be exhausting. We need to know ourselves and limits. Self care and self love, we are normally empaths too. Ah, totally. Totally. So, something that I've learned lately is that even though I'm an empath and I can feel and I understand, I think you're the same, Michelle. I can literally sit in a situation and I can almost know what the person is thinking. And then, not on purpose, but I would word it when I'm speaking. I'm very good with one on ones, even a bigger, like 3 or 4 people. But in bigger groups, I tend to keep quiet. But I also think that's what I've learned. It's learned behavior because I wasn't always like that. Um, they always say that if you, that little girl who you were when you were little, that sometimes you really were. And then things happen and you kind of lost that person. And so whenever I have like feelings coming up, I go and I see where did this start? And it's interesting how I found many of those things started when I was really young, just with situations or with things that happened and whatever. But back to the empath. And then I would word what I'm feeling, and then the person, so either they will go in total shock. Yeah, it is discernment. It's a hard gift in many ways. You're so right, um, Alexandria. So people would go into total shock and then reject me because they feel exposed. So I got wiser through the years with that one. Or they would just break down and start talking. And then, yeah, I, I am a life coach and counselor. So I often end up in situations where I counsel people and talk them through stuff, which is also not bad. But yes, it's that thing of, let me just make sure, since it can be exhausting, you need to know ourselves. Yeah. So I've learned to know myself. But remember, I spoke about it the other day where my friend said, you take the love, you let the love flow through you, and then you give it back to the person. And then I started doing that. It's so much easier. I don't get overwhelmed with the situation anymore or situations. I just allow the love that I feel. And I know there's love from that side, but if it's hate, I just block it, which sometimes happens. And I just let it go. Let Give it like a wave back to the person, but also let it go through me, out of me, and then give it back to the person. And that really helps me a lot. But yes, I have done a lot of self work in the last few years, basically last 12, 15 years. Yes, you shouldn't do either. I have a permanent retinopathy from cutting the fringe of my teeth, but I don't know where my little scissor is. It's on the stable somewhere. Stable is quite a mess, but it's okay. The other thing that I've also learned in the last few years is I used to feel like if you are really open, uh, it's about not taking responsibility for what you have discerned. Yes, that's so lovely. I shared that today to let love flow through. Yeah, it is so true. But the other thing that I've also learned is I actually had a situation this week where somebody that's not really part of my life, we know each other and we've known each other for many years, but this person is not part of my life. And she's not part of the people that are allowed to speak into my life. Because in the past, I thought that if you are transparent, you need to be transparent. You need to be open and you need to let people in. And there is a place for it, but there's also a place of discernment, like you said, Alexandria. So I thought that it's important to be transparent to everybody, but I've learned through the years that you don't have to do that. For you to be transparent with somebody, that person, it's a privilege. I almost want to say that person had to earn it. It's not like, oh, you need to earn my friendship. It's more a case of um, you have not walked with me through the years, and for that reason, you don't have the right to speak into my life. You don't have the right to know all what's going on in my heart. And that was something that in the past I thought transparency mean to tell people all these things, and it was you're not, you are not open, or you're not transparent if you don't share what's going on. And I've learned that that's not true. So I've become much more discerning, but also much more. Um, you have to earn your position in my life. You can't just come in and think you can ask me personal questions and I have to answer it, or go into places where and then expect me to take your advice when I didn't ask for it. Because sometimes there's also situations like people will come in and tell me, oh no, but you should just do this or that or the other. But I didn't ask you. I didn't ask you to be part of this thing working through, or to give me advice. And so I've also learned in the last few years that I can say, I don't have to tell you, I don't have to share my life. Just because you're here and you're asking questions at the moment, if you haven't walked with me and you haven't been there with me, I'm not going to share with you. Not because I'm cagey or anything, it's just I don't have to. It's my life, and I have the people I'm accountable to because I do believe in accountability. But if you're not one of those people, then I don't have to share with you. And that is something that I often also say to my clients is pick your pick your persons. Yes, they want information rather than truly caring for you. I call it currency. I call it conversational currency. So what I find at one stage in my life, people will ask me questions and then they would use it as currency. So there's a place where in psychology, when you share with people certain things, you build, it's kind of like you build a bridge. And then by sharing these things, you bring your position in the friend group higher, or something like that. So people will so often come and try to find information out about you so that they can share it with other people. And they don't see it as gossip. And in a sense, it's not real gossip, but it's not there for your to help you. It's there for them to use it as a currency, to either get more information from somebody else or for whatever reason. And I've started the saying of my life is not going to be your currency in my head. And so I will talk about general things and what I've learned today. I don't mind at all. But the things that's close to my heart, I only share it with the people that earned that place close to my heart. And so I refuse. I also realized that I was doing that thing of finding currency because then you get to the next person and you're like, oh, shame, so and so is going through such a hard time. Oh, please give her grace because she's really going through a hard time. And it's all noble, but it's to improve my position in the situation. Oh, she's so caring, or whatever reason it was. And I've become very aware over the last few years of that, of trading information. And so I do still fail sometimes, but I also make a point of not using currency in situations, talking about other people. So now, and I don't always, like I said, I don't always get it right, but what I do is I will say something positive like, oh, I really enjoy this about that person. And then I would like, oh, but you know this. And then I would make a point of stating, that's they haven't shared that with me, so I don't feel comfortable us discussing this. And I've become quite clear about things like that. But sometimes I get caught out or caught off guard, like I did in this week, and people will just barge in. And so I need to learn to say I work well with scripts. So like if a situation like, and that's also, I think it's part of ADD, but if a situation appears to know, like if somebody just jumps something on me, to say, I'm not going to comment on that now. I need to go and think about it. Because my ADD tendencies is like, oh, let's jump in and talk about it. And then I get myself into trouble. And now I'm really working on, I need to think about it, or I'll get back to you, or, I don't really feel comfortable about speaking about this, or just change the subject. Now, sadly, in that situation, the person kept on going back to this thing, and I had to, at one stage, just say, oh, I'm tired now, I'm going to go to bed. It was like, I'm done. So, yeah, it's learning all those different things about yourself. Sorry, I'm just picking up all the lavender. I was not able to fill this one completely. I'm a bit sad, but it's okay. I'll finish it tomorrow. What I do want to do is just sew it up a little bit because it's quite widely open. Yes. Yeah, because it's that. I don't know if you've ever been in a prayer meeting, and instead of praying, people are prayer gossiping. It's like, oh Lord, please help this one or that one. And they're going through X, Y, and Z. And then nobody else knows it in that prayer group, but this person knows it. And then they start prayer gossiping about this person. And I've come to a place where I actually do not allow it. I would either walk out or I would say to the person, this is not general knowledge. So, yes, pray that when you're on your own, but don't do it in this group. Oh my goodness. What's the matter? Oh, you haven't had a Yorkie time. Let me give you your roll over. This is Ella. Ella, say hello to the people. Ella is such a lover bug. She loves licking you, and I don't like it. I really don't like it. She's so cute. And then we have, oh, no, oh, he stretches out, Chase. Chase stretches out, and he's a real baby. If I could keep him like this the whole day, he would be so happy. He's got the sweetest face. Let me show you. Chase, say hello to the people. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. I've never really been a fan of Yorkies because the Yorkies I know, I know, aren't they just too cute? Um, I've never been a fan of Yorkies because the Yorkies I've known has really been irritating and barking and like just irritating. But these two are so gorgeous. Their dad does a really good job with them. And I feel so privileged to look after them. I know. They are so cute. Yeah, so that's just my take today on being transparent, choosing your accountability partners. It's very important. You do have to have accountability. So it could be your husband or some friends. It's usually good to have about three because they then see it from different perspectives. Because you know your soul, body, and spirit. And I find that often my accountability partners comes from those different perspectives. And then I would talk things through with them, and it's so interesting to see how they actually apply those principles. And then you can have some more friends that you talk to in bigger situations. I do have those as well. Those are usually about maximum of 10. And then you have the people that you know and you're friendly to and you do small talk. Authentic is my latest favorite word. I totally agree, Alexandra Rose. It's a thing of authentic. So you can still, and that's the thing that I've also learned. I also thought, always thought, you can't be authentic if you're not willing to share everything. But that's not true. You know, you've got different parts. You're not just one-sided. We are so dimensional. You know, in the Bible, there's a scripture that says the height and the depth and the breadth and the width of the love of God. So that is so four-dimensional, and He's made us multidimensional. And so, read your situation and the dimension of that, and the situation will tell you which dimension to share in that situation. But you don't have to just like I'm just thinking of this puppy. When she met me the first time, she fell on her back and she opened her whole body like this. It's like scratch my tummy. I don't do that anymore. The inner circle, so true. Yeah. And it's a privilege to have an inner circle. And it's important to look after your inner circle. But it's also important to recognize when there's people in your inner circle that don't belong there. Because I'm very loyal. So I've always been this type of, if you're part of my friend, if you're part of my circle of friends, you don't go, you're not going anywhere. And my one friend used this joke, do I have a choice? And it's like, no. And my one old friend always joke about that. But I've learned also that there are times when you have to you have to let go. Maybe because there was a situation where I was not a good friend to this person, just because we didn't really connect in the same way. And I was mean. And I had to say to her, I think you're worth more than this. I am not a good friend. And no matter how I tried, our personalities just clashed. And so I've learned through the years not to let my loyalty hold onto friendships when it's actually time to let them go. And then it's not like, oh, there's a fallout and we never talk to each other again. It's nothing like that. It's more just a case of this situation is not good for either of us, or this situation is not good for me. Sometimes there are intruders. We have to be wary and guard our hearts, as you said before. That's so true. So, yeah, friendship is quite interesting. And I find moving to Cape Town, I've gone through this whole, I'm busy going through this whole process of getting new friends because I still have some amazing friends in the place where I used to live. And I love them to bits. And some of them are part of my inner circle. But it's time for new friends because I'm sorry, baby. Shame. Just stepped on Ella's tail. Earlier today, I stepped on her foot because she's got this tendency of getting under your feet. You want to come up? You can. Come. Oh, I've got you. I've got you. I've got you. She just wants some love. I don't know. She's not eating that well at the moment. I think she's missing her dad. So I think if I give her a bit of love and fill up her tank, she might eat. So let's do that. Let's fill her up. Do you want to sit on my lap? You can. Here you go. That's lavender. Can't eat it. Now we just, oh, sweetie pie. We just spoke about eating, but this is not food. You can smell it because it will calm you down. Can you smell it? It smells nice, huh? She's now smelling all the lavender. Let me find my glasses so I can see properly. I want cuddles. Yes, she wants cuddles. I think she's missing her dad. Now her brother wants some as well. You see, if there's space for both of them. They're so small. They might have space. Come on. Oh, it's cuddle time. Cuddle time. Cuddle time. I know. They're really sweet. But he is such a licker. Oh, I can't stand it. There you go. I'm going to put you down, okay? Yes. Good girl. Good girl. I'm so glad, Alexandria. Yeah, they're really sweet. So anyway, this one is now at that point where we need more lavender. And then I still have, oh, look at that. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So number 7, 8, 9, 10. I thought I had 14. Huh. Okay. I will go and have to cut some more. So I wanted 14. So here, go. Oh, there's another one. Let's see if there's more. Let's try again. I gave 1 away, so that means there will be 13 left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then one else. Another one that's done. So that is the number 8 I've given away, but there should be more. I'll have to look for them. Oh, there's another one that needs filling. Okay. I think there's some more that needs filling over there. Okay, we're fine. So I think I'm going to leave you at that. I know it's not a full hour, but this was really such a thoughtful conversation. Thanks, guys, for joining me. So today, I think, yes, look after yourself and be kind to yourself and be kind to the ones around you and be thoughtful in your conversations and cuddle with your dogs and your cats. And if you don't have dogs and cats, if you are one of the lucky ones who's married and you are loving your partner, cuddle with your partner, your kids, or whatever. Thanks for watching. Bless you too, Alexandria. And I'll see you tomorrow. So, tomorrow, I'm going to go for a walk in the morning for the Australia friends. And then in the afternoon, we'll go for another walk on the beach for the American and England friends. So, actually, England, you will be able to join me also if you're up early. No, maybe not because I'm going to go at 6:30. That's quite early in England. That's like 4:30. That's a bit early. I'll see you in the afternoon. Thank you so much, Michelle. Look after yourself, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.